Welcome back to The Devil in Detail for another week. I'm Eli Schwab.
I'm Ben Granoff. This is the 51st episode, and we're going to be covering Grendel Devil's Odyssey, issue 6. It's Wednesday's new comic from Matt and Brenna Wagner. Yay!
Yeah. Woohoo! We're back.
Eli, tell me about your week.
It's been a whirlwind, a crazy one of ups and downs. I do want to say we missed last week, though in the grand scheme of things, you may not even notice, but we did miss last week, and I want to say a fond farewell to my podcast host and best friend, the dear, sweet Raja, the kitty that we lost last Friday. I love you so much. A great boy. But that was a crazy week last night, and that's why we missed the ep. Anyway, I love him so much. He's been in the cast a bunch, so shout outs to him. I love him. But other than that, it's just been another crazy week. Spent mostly in InDesign for me. The very last little pieces of the Ween zine are now complete. Paper samples are in, and I'm getting that all ready. Going to print on Monday. No ifs, ands, or buts. Maybe some buts. Big ones. Cable guy every time. Now, also, Wizard 2. I have over 150 pages laid out in InDesign. Like, this thing is getting beefy, and it's going to be bigger than last issue's 248 giant pages. So that's humongous. I went to Collector's Paradise Winnetka last night, which is carrying Wizard, and recently set up a Cosmic Lion Productions section of their store, which is huge. And one of the buyers from the store said, I would like to buy out the rest of just everything you have. I want to buy it of Wizard and Image Grand Design. And there's not much of either left. There's like maybe 10 Wizards and there's maybe 20 Image Grand Designs. They're buying everything. So it's going to be available on their website a little bit or in store, Collector's Paradise, Winnetka, Pasadena, and I think downtown. So that was really an amazing thing to like go into a comic shop and have this guy just be like, I want to buy everything straight up. No more commission. I'm buying everything. People have been calling, wanting, asking for Cosmic Lion Production stuff. So that's freaking huge.
That's the road. That's the road to distro, my friend.
Yeah, exactly.
Ka-chink.
Cheers. And
so that's a good level up. Good on you.
A good level up then for us, for Oh Fuck Why, for Arcane, for Babe Lord book. I have my final meeting for that on Sunday. The printer is set for the fold out. I've got pricing and everything. So gosh, I'm psyched about all that. It's been amazing. So cheers. Coffee.
That's
what
great.
About you,
Cheers.
Ben? What you been working on, bud?
Cheers to you. Oh my God, it's been 2 weeks. I'm 6 pages deep into inking Oh Fuck Why issue 2. It's
looking so good, man.
Thanks, man. It's crazy. I am so excited to hand off the first batch of pages to colorist Morgan Hickman.
Nice. How often do you do that? Do you do it like in 5-page increments?
I think I'm gonna get a big batch under my belt first. I think that's what his schedule needs right now. But I did about 5 pages in a week. So that was good. I also did I'm working on my first Marvel Method style story with writer Douglas Wolk for the 1963 project. And It was one of the most freeing and just fun creative experiences I've had making comics, because instead of locking down all the layout and the beats and doing creative negotiation, it was just all right, man, this is what I want you to do on this page. And, if you can make this happen. And it was all these if you can do this weird flashback and turn it into a musical number, that would be cool. I was like, yeah, of course I'm going to do that why wouldn't I? That's amazing. Very freeing, a lot of fun. I'm forgetting a lot of stuff. I was on Tony and Peter's Too Young for This Shit podcast.
Oh, sweet.
Night.
Fun, right?
That was a lot of fun.
Can you say what you did? What was your topic?
We did Aliens.
Oh, great.
So Aliens. I watched a bunch of Aliens movies, Alien franchise movies this week with my daughter, and that was that. I think that's it. That's my week. Making comics. Oh, and the cover to Arcane #1 by Chris Anderson and Chris Misimo is coming together, and it's fucking crazy.
Insane.
So that's good.
Oh my God, it looks so good. And those two guys are amazing to work with. Again, Chris Anderson, his last heavy metal story was published this week too in Heavy Metal Magazine.
Oh, cool.
So cool.
Yeah, did you see the one that he posted today with like the reflection in the scientist's glasses?
Yeah.
So fucking cool.
Oh, where it was like
his
his eyes and then the eyes. God, he is a great cartoonist.
Such a beast, both those guys.
Beasts.
Yeah, that's it. Enough about us. Let's get into Grendel. Hit me with the intro. Let's have some fun.
It's like the devil is my best friend. On the rose with the pen to the fork end, or till time end. Like Orion, Jupiter, my kin, bloodline private. We control the whole shit. The wolf won't beef, then we feast off the rip. Behold the devil in detail. Behold the devil in detail.
All right, welcome back. After that amazing theme by Laserdisc and Manus, thanks again, dudes. I want to do a quick shout out here to our new YouTube subscribers. As I said last episode, we just broke the 300 subscribers mark. So shout out to Down Market Hoser. I think that was our 300th subscriber. So Down Market Hoser, if you hear this, message me, comment on this video, and we'll get you out this new Grendel zine that I'm going to put out very soon.
Merci beaucoup, bud.
Yeah, dude. Also, shout out Damian Harvey, Ignacio de Milio, Guano Guy. That's Mark Darden, a great friend and a killer comic. Don Davis, Brandon Rodriguez, Eric Medine, Kevin Still, and Michael Wagner. Shout out, y'all. Oh, and Earl Bruce. Shout out all those guys for hitting us up, commenting, and liking everything. Shout out you guys. We also have a few people who seem to have been watching a bunch of people. James Haney seems to be commenting a lot, watching a lot of stuff. So shout out to those dudes. Thanks again for watching. Let's see, who was the other people? Oh yeah, Mark Akey, big fan, and Nick Hyde. Thanks, guys. No. Nick Hyder and Bo. Shout out to Bo, who seems to be going through all of them and watching them. Cool. All right, so let's get into the issue Devil's Odyssey. We had two covers. The first cover was by Brennan and Matt, and then the variant cover was by Lucas Troya. So cool. Very much a, like a old school heavy metal or like a
Frazetta riff.
Frazetta, yeah, gosh.
EC Comics kind of thing.
So sick.
Yeah, he's got that Wally Wood bubble helmet.
Oh my God. Oh yeah, exactly.
Very cool.
All right, here we are on the new issue of Devil's Odysseys. Thanks again to Comixology. I bought 3 copies of the issue this week. So Matt and Bren, go out and out to dinner, dude. It's gonna be bank. I know it.
Get an extra app, yeah.
On me.
Brennan does such a nice job here.
Really beautiful.
There's the knockouts, as he calls them. Look. Apparently, it's always called knockouts. I always call it color holds, but
I know. Yeah,
I'll say knockouts for Brennan. I don't
for
want
now
him to
on.
say, I don't want him to be like, this guy doesn't know what the fuck.
He doesn't know anything. About
but there's a lot of that. But my favorite bit here is the like watercolor fading on the Hronk's beak.
Oh yeah,
that's in the book a lot, and it's just this really sumptuous like orange glossy to green leather transition that he does so well.
The watercolor too, the watercolor like texturing in the sun, in the sunset, in the sky, and in the sand. Really beautiful work.
Yeah,
and follow both of them on Facebook to get tons more information about how they're doing this, to see the black and whites and stuff. It's been cool to follow along.
The palette throughout here is it's like super candy, psychedelic, sci-fi, sumptuous feast. It's
love it.
Like the last issue was like all like grays and muted and like rust and stuff. And this is just like this one was just such a treat to kind of bathe in. Love it.
Yeah, they're really showing us how much color can determine the way we feel and interpret like these different planets.
Yeah.
And as when Brennan will share his coloring process, he'll show his palette too. And so he's being very particular, it seems, about, the palettes for these planets, so that's great. It's really good work.
Really facilitates the scene changes that happen, like as the pace ramps up in this issue, like the locales change like with subsequent page turns, and it works quite well. Great.
And so between this planet and the last planet, it's been 30 years. And, Siggy and Grendel Prime have been searching and working around, and they finally found this planet, and then have been monitoring it for 6 additional years before they made contact seemingly with this city.
Well, I wonder if he's gone native, if he's just been kind of like doing recon and chilling out and
seems like that,
and some Frank training.
and why is Siggy tied to this post? Was there an issue with his flying? Would it be too strange for the the villagers, the townspeople? Did something happen where his hover conversion has been damaged?
The repulsors just couldn't be maintained.
Right. So they're on this world. It's shared by 3 intelligent species, and they're currently at a medieval stage of technology in a world that the inhabitants refer to as Bojan Fek.
Bojangles. You want to advance the page? We can look at this beautiful splash.
Oh, for sure. Thanks.
Beautiful semi-splash. And again, look at those knockouts and how it gets lighter. There's like 3 different shades, and as it recedes into the background, it gets like mistier and atmospheric haze, I believe is Brennan's term there. Really great.
Man. Yeah. And they have really been showing off the first 4 pages on their Facebook, so be sure to check that out. And we meet, it seems like there's kind of like a frog type of people. There's like a feline type of people, and then and then there's like kind of a piggish type of people. So let's go to the next page here, and we're introduced to those 3. Everything is determined on this planet by the ordeal. And the ordeal is this is like a battle for to instead of everyone is innocent and proven guilty in a court of law. Chon chon. Dun, 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 dun,
all personal disputes settled combat to the death.
Exactly. One thing that you can do if you're not a good fighter, you can get these. You can get a proxy to fight in your stead. And so this dude here, this cat. You think it's cat or dog? Maybe I'm wrong.
It was like Doberman Jaguar hybrid.
Okay, yeah, you're right.
Yeah,
Doberman Jaguar.
There should be a big spike in furry interest because of this issue.
I love it. Yeah.
So these two pigmen are farmers who are having a dispute over land rights or something like that.
Mm-hmm. And his cattle were grazing upon his land.
Yeah.
None more shall your cattle graze upon my land. I will take you. I demand trial by the ordeal. And he has a surrogate here. Yeah. And we're really learning, like, I don't know if this is the right word, but the like socioeconomic, sociopolitical underworkings of this planet. We're really getting like deep into it here. Like,
yeah, I mean, they dig into it more later, and I don't want to. I mean, I'll just say is that this one social construct is it. I think he says it's instead of war, this is how everything is settled one-on-one, and it's part of the social contract where like people stay in line or settle disputes because, if you're publicly having a dispute, you can't be a coward about it. They'll be like, well, if you can't settle this, you have to fight to the death. Yeah. And so people are like, well, maybe we can just settle.
It's all good. I'll just take my flock off your land. Those are your loquat bushes.
Yeah. I really like that this combat ring is very simple. It's not it's a common municipal space.
Right.
Like in the Shook by the well, it's not like a gladiatorial arena. It's
exactly.
Like, this is like where, all right, well, we'll make this happen. And all these people in the background, they're there to like watch the fight, but only because normal. It's like it's a normal thing and people are doing commerce and
there's not like betting. There's not like a bookie. There's not like now then again, we don't know. This is every city and community probably has their own ordeal ring. So maybe this is a small town one, and maybe
We'll see. We'll see.
the big city, yeah, because he's obviously heading there next.
Yeah, I really enjoy the 3-panel stack where they show like the guy who, the magistrate who's like doing the clerical work to make this happen.
Exactly.
And then just like the pink on this pigment, like Brennan just like it's so
Pigment.
like appealing, like the pink
pigment,
hues,
the pigment,
the pigment of the pig, and like the markings on the pig are
So
really cool. Just looks great. The page on the right is super cool too, with the hands, the high angle shot, and then this really crazy yellow,
yeah,
like
inset.
figure shaped panel border. That's so cool. Yeah. My note here was that the yellow, it it blends down to the purple. So there's not a lot of contrast when it's at their heads by the sand, and then as you kind of scan down, like this really cool like dissolve effect occurs where the yellow and the purples of the shadows kind of like contrast against each other.
Yeah, I mean,
super cool.
It's obvious that the relationship between Matt and Brennan is like, I mean, it's like they just work so well together, almost like they're related. It's like,
almost.
Well, no, I mean, it's just it's so great. It's like this symbiotic relationship, and it seems like Matt really just like lets him do what he wants, but it's also like, I've trained you from birth to do exactly as I'm thinking, and like they just have this like perfect symbiosis. It's so cool.
Matt's cartooning is really tight still. It's not as tight as it was 10, 15, 20 years ago, but it reads so well and so appealingly, and it works so well. But the devices and the innovation is still top notch, because like there's a handful of devices, including the one we just discussed, that like I've never seen him use before. So it's like, oh, here's something else I'll pull out of my hat 45 years into my career.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
Exactly. Yeah. So great. Yeah. And next page, I mean, we skip all of the, any action, any battle, and it's just like it's as quick as that. It's like this unexpected turn. We didn't even need to waste time with the battle. Like these events just happen. They're quick, and this is life. We didn't expect it. I felt like it was set up for us to think that this dog dude or the surrogate was just gonna like destroy this dude, but nope. He disemboweled him and beheaded him. Yeah,
the effects of the battle are so grisly.
Yeah, man.
That it's like I don't feel cheated out of not seeing the battle. Like time passes, oh my god, and just like guts everywhere, head off.
Yeah.
And it's really it's less about the battle and more about like the dispute. Fuck you, man.
Yeah. Well, and Brennan mentioned something too on his Facebook about how you kind of think like, oh, because we have these anthropomorphic kind of cartoony figures, but then we also have this like real world gore going on. And so it's like, it's the two kind of ends that Matt's straddling and presenting both the cuteness and the gore. Just boom.
The ordeal is resolved. I claim victory as is my due. May only the just prevail. So
that's the
might makes
cry,
right.
Like.
That's the social flaw in this otherwise like very suitable world, is that it's like they have their own spirit. The spirit of aggression has sort of contaminated things on this planet, and there's some really interesting commentary with the Paladin on that theme in this issue.
And part of it is Prime is trying to figure out if humans could live with this culture on this planet too. So it wouldn't be like they try to eradicate.
Well,
this
it's
world.
like it wouldn't work for humans because we would find loopholes to exploit the system in the same way that we keep, Trump keeps people tied up with legal fees so that he can get away with whatever the fuck he wants because the war chest is so big. We would just, breed soldiers and who are all loyal to a Khan so that we could get our way.
The Grendels would just start fighting. Yeah.
Or they would just step in here and decimate because there's no armies.
That's true.
The people would be like, oh, this place is wonderful. It's the the development of the Paladin's apparent conscience in this story is what I really enjoyed.
Right. That's what you were talking to me about yesterday. And that was like kind of something I missed. But you had brought to my attention how what did you say? He not went native, but the fact that his consciousness has grown and changed through this long journey.
Well, we'll get there as this story, as this issue progresses. All right. So the next them up, like, they do their little paperwork. Yeah. All right. Who's got the next?
Who's next? Next grievance.
They ring their bells again. Yeah. Festivus.
Mm-hmm. A time to air grievances. So the next one we have is a farmer whose apprentice has defiled his daughter.
No, he's a cooper.
Oh, a cooper. What's a cooper?
He's a barrel maker.
Oh, okay. Barrel maker.
Yeah, he's defiled his daughter, but
I thought you meant he was a colorist, like a Dave Cooper or.
Yeah, no, but and then the former apprentice is this pink-haired Doberman Jaguar,
right?
Who is he's a mystic and a dreamer. He's not a fighter.
Exactly. A very cool character. I'm hoping to see develop more, and it seems as though we will. And he's like, but he is like, the dad is like, I'm ready to fight. And it's me versus him. And the kid's like, I don't know how to fight. I don't have a weapon. I got nothing. Like, I'm irresistible to women and men. Like, I'm irresistible. I'm cool.
Yeah.
Look how cool. Like, I ain't doing this. I'm a lover, not a fighter.
Yeah.
And that's when Prime steps in, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Here comes Prime. You said this one felt like a Western. It's like totally like a Kurosawa kind of, Seven Samurai Yojimbo type of scenario. Yeah.
He's really been wandering. He's a wandering Ronin. His master is far away, so.
Yeah. Siggy tied up to the peaceful bow staff is like, this is where he says there's no open warfare. It never gets that far because one-on-one combat is the all conflict is disputed that way.
And they have like a kind of like a neural link kind of thing, right? So so they're
right. Well, also Siggy's talking to us because they've been here for 35 years.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But like these are also it seems as though they're like talking to each other because they have a neural link. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And excuse me. So then the dad is like, okay, you don't have a weapon. Here is my father's blade. Mm-hmm. If you could beat me in any way, this will take you there. And he's like, dude, okay. Like,
yeah. So there is this sense of honor,
right.
Like it's, if he wanted, he's probably mad enough that if he he could just stab him in the night, but instead it's
right.
Let's do
this is the way of the land. Like,
yeah.
And Ziggy's like, yeah. Oh, you said.
And the kid has got this sort of like anti-establishment peacenik streak to him.
For sure. And next page we get this, the kind of the cover image, and they're like, if humanity is ever to exist alongside these people, they must somehow move beyond this barbaric. He's like, shut up, drone. So like they still have this funny kind of like back and forth, like the big guy, little guy, Laurel and Hardy kind of, I'm all action, you're all knowledge. It's great. I love that relationship they have. And so
this page, the palette really puts you there.
For sure. And like the green of what did you say it's called again?
It's a Hronk.
Hronk, yes.
Yeah.
Hronk. Yeah, let's say that. The green and purple, Mm-hmm. I didn't even notice, but it kind of corresponds to the like frog dudes also, they're green and purple. And now the detail on Prime's cloak, the dirt and grime at the bottom. Good shit, Brennan. That's amazing. I love that stuff. I've been trying a lot to work with textures like that in Photoshop, and it's fun. I've been finding it so very fun to age and distress stuff like that in Photoshop. I've been working with that a lot recently.
In the Y inks, I need to be more restrained because I'm going fucking crazy with detail a lot of times. And, this one spatter texture really, it just says it all. And, none of this is overworked. It's just the right amount. And I think that's one of the things that makes the style like so inviting besides the storytelling clarity that we always get, it's just like this is very, very readable stuff.
Yeah. And realistic too. Like if you're wearing a white cloak out in the desert, sand, mud, the bottom is gonna be a mess, you know?
Yeah. Cool,
And,
cool. So anyway, the paladin off. This is very Katniss Everdeen. I will stand as tribute.
Oh yeah,
For all
yeah,
you all you YA literary heads. I mean, this is the same. This is the Matt. Have you ever seen the Hunger Games?
Anyway, and he's like, "What? Why? Like you're gonna fight for me?" And he's like, "What trickery is this?" You know, like they're just like, "What? What is?" And then it's very odd. He's riding a haronk, and those are pack animals. Like, how did he even tame that beast?
Yeah,
you know?
so he must have taken a lot of time to
right.
to,
That was part of that
to
6
break
years.
the haronk. Yeah,
yeah, really cool. And so then the father is like, how could you even, like, how did you do this? Like, what trickery? You know, is this some friend of yours, Defiler? And he's like, dude, I don't even know this dude. Like,
yeah, this
looks
guy
awesome.
shows up out of nowhere, and yet he knows our ways as if he is one of us. Very very Muad'Dib Paul
right. He's
Atreides
been
of him.
watching. He's been probably watching it
Yeah.
and studying everything for quite some time. He's got those, he's got these android eyes. He can probably like zoom in and shit. So he's able to like watch stuff from a distance. And
all right, so this is all very unorthodox. He introduces himself,
but they're
I
like,
am
"Yo,
Grendel, let's do this."
I am Grendel, hear me roar. But it's also like the ordealer must also know the rank and status of opponent. And he's like, if that's so, advocate, what is your name and occupation? And he's like, I have no official clan or rank. I am Grendel. Bomb. So cool.
Cool. So his terms are that he's the guy can use both his weapons. Listen, the paladin can do whatever he wants to do. We all know he's going to win this fight.
yes.
He's going in very passively.
Yep. And he's like, what weapon shall you wield? He's like, I don't even care. I don't need anything. I grant the rival, he can use both his arms, whatever he wants. So next page, I mean, this is just great. This is, I mean, okay, again, the what do you say? Oh yeah, the knockouts on these background characters. Yeah. So cool. And another super creative cartooning trick. Like these, the background isn't in, like, it's not in, sorry.
It's a montage composition.
Okay, yeah, thank you. Prime is inset among the faces in the crowd. There's 2 inset panels of like where he's like, here, hold my coat while and he just kneels down.
And the wide one is so wide that he's just a little white shape. Yeah,
right.
Very cool.
Too tall for a rasher, too broad for a kenning, definitely not a glebe. So those are our three races, I guess you would say, upon this planet. And Siggy's kind of like, I hope this works, dude. And he's like, dude, these are wooden weapons. What are they gonna do? I battled vampire apes in Africa. These guys ain't gonna do nothing.
Yeah, this is his Gandhi, Martin Luther King peaceful protest turn, where he's just gonna like sit there in like this meditative stance, and Siggy says, well, this is not only different for you, this is different for the entire series. In a book about the spirit of aggression, suddenly this guy has realized that the way to achieve his aims is through nonviolence. Unbelievable.
Right. A lot of character growth for Prime, man. So much so, like, and we've never seen, I guess we really haven't seen this long of a progression for one character either. Like, I mean, what are we at? Maybe 50 years on this tale so far for this run?
Of this story?
Yeah. No, hundreds.
Between 50 and
100.
And then for the whole character, hundreds, if not 1,000 years.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. There was Brennan left a note that, said that, between the con from issue 1 of this and Jupiter, several cons have come and gone.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like, it's very, that's the great thing about this story, that you can always go back and tell another tale because there's so much time in between.
Right. So he is definitely in the high hundreds of age, Grendel Prime, at this time. And for him to have not learned anything, and especially in this time when he's not this avenging angel for a Khan, or he's not the protector, he's out there looking to save humanity.
Yeah. And
So,
this guy, because he's bucking the system with this like anti-authoritarian hippie stance, the guy thinks he's being insulted in their tradition, and he attacks him from behind, which is crazy.
right. He chanks him on the head and his sword just chanks to nothing. And then he continues his assault and he's like, what the crack? He's like, that's okay. All right. That is old. That is a brittle spear, but not with my father's blade, forged by a South country smithy from steel that is hard and true. And just, he tangs him and tangs and tangs and tangs and tangs and chunks and shunks and crunks.
Yeah, the lettering in that tier at the bottom is really great.
Love it. Again, just creative cartooning, the break in the panels, but there's not a break in the lettering. The lettering stays. And
that's interesting.
So that's really cool.
I also like
the
the black of his flesh is the black is silhouetted. There's no detail within that, but all the other armor and wrappings and stuff get their detail.
Perfect.
Good. This guy's spent with his broken hilt. Why won't you die?
And then it's cool. Prime's just like, again, bucking the system. He's just like, all right, phasers on stun, hands on stun. He just stuns him, puts him out for a little bit.
And well, he asks to be killed.
Oh, right. He's like, okay.
He's saying, he's like, all right, well, if you won't die, then I've lost and you have to kill me. And
such is our way.
Yeah. And Prime is like, I'm not going to kill you. I'm going to show you that like you don't need to do it this way.
Right. And your daughter's
and this ain't worth it.
Yeah. It's not worth it.
Yeah.
All right. So he just like stuns him and then he's like, okay, boom. Y'all don't know what happened to him. Let's get out of here. And Siggy's like, that was showing off a little bit there, bro. And Prime puts his hood back on, puts his white cloak back on. He's like, we're done here.
He repeats the phrasing that you need to say when you win, except he's changed things up. So he's now tying, I think what's happening is that he's tying justice to not murder. Previously justice is victory in combat to the death. Right. Here he's sowing the idea that there is another way.
It doesn't have to be death, but just defeat or,
Yeah. The people are not buying that.
No, not at all.
He's like, and fuck it.
Yeah. And the magistrate is like, okay, we're going to have to call this one in, bros. This is alert the district ministry, So now Prime, and I think this is what he wants to do, is sow this discontent, a questioning of authority and make his name known.
He's found a loophole, which is that the ordeal is officially over when the victor leaves the ring.
Right.
So it has nothing to do. So technically it doesn't. You don't have to kill anybody. You just have to walk out.
Yeah, you have to. Yeah, I guess. Right, and so the opponent, if they don't let you out of the ring, or if they're still hooting, hollering, you can't leave the ring. But now that he stunned the dude, put him out for a second, said the words, left the ring. That's it.
He is a radical heretic who is a force for change in this whole system.
Yeah, cool. And he rides off into the sunset.
This is very like Kane from is that his name, from Kung Fu?
Watching Kane, yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. He's like, yeah, and like he comes into the city and solves this issue with the people and then just is off to the next episode. It's perfect. We were behind there. Okay. And so now he's off, in the valley riding through, and I guess they kind of realize that they're being followed. And they're talking a little bit about the barbarity of this ritual.
it's really funny because Siggy mentions to him that, like, Earth is also barbaric. Like the Grendel Khan tribes, clans, Hunter Rose, it's all built on barbaric stuff.
Yeah.
And this is where we see this character development, Colonel. He says, our mission is to do better, because the Paladin knows that if we have the opportunity for that aggression to take seed, the cycle will just repeat itself.
Yes,
so he's really on this mission to find, he really wants to found Starfleet, is what it sounds like.
It does seem like that. Yeah, like and start a new way, a fresh new life for humanity.
Yeah. If we can find a way to stop this ritual from going down, we can save millions of lives. It's just like we have to find a better way. And I think, again, like, I think he understands that if you introduced human beings into this, they would exploit it.
Yeah, very much so.
Or just say, oh, let's raise an army and take over the planet.
Right. Because of where humanity is at this time, like in the Khan era, like before we left, it's armies, it's factions, it's clans and all this stuff. And as they're riding off into the night, then Grendel's like, we better build a fire, as all great human events begin. A fire. And Siggy's like, I have no need for warmth, neither do you. And he's like, it ain't for me, which is, I thought that was cool. And he's
always had a touch of humanity. He cares for Jupiter and
and he is originally a human. Like there is like a little bit of human in there. He's kind of like the Borg Queen. I feel like he's got that much human left, like torso and head, and then the rest is.
But this is it's not a face turn. It's like a monk turn for him. Like in this,
right? That's what you're saying.
Years, he's like found enlightened kung fu wandering, like utopian ideals. Like it's the only way it can happen. Yeah, it's crazy.
And he's like, and then so finally they're there. The Haronk is fast asleep, and he's like, "Hey, dude, what you doing back there?" Just kind of says, and he's like, I wasn't hiding, like, and so he invites him to the fire, and this is, just like, what happens around a fire is you talk, you connect with people, and knowledge is exchanged, and it's been this way for thousands of years, and this is kind of where it begins.
Let me show you the new way.
Right. And can you tell me about you and your planet? I'm going to advance here. His name is Naz, and he's got a God-given as. He was the Naz with God-given eyes. David Bowie.
I don't know David Bowie.
Oh, he's a singer. He's a musician.
He's a singer. Yeah. There's a reference to David Bowie, to Zoe Bowie.
That's right.
And I don't know. And you're like, oh, Zoe Bowie. I was like, I don't know what that is. I didn't say anything. Now I'm showing my cards.
The only David Bowie you're familiar with is the 1985 song by the band Fish.
Yeah, right.
Which can reach up to 27 minutes.
My God. This is where he says, I want to be the voice of change. I want to get rid of the ritual. It's no good. I see the flaw in the system, and we gotta, this is a real progressive take on the spirit of aggression. Interesting.
Right. And here's where what's his name? Kenning. No, the young Kenning. Kenning is the race.
Kenning's the race. Yeah, his name's Naz.
Naz, yeah. That's what I was just singing Bowie for. Anyway, so and then Naz is telling him about how he wants to be Bowie-esque, a singer, a poet. How he's irresistible to men and women, and he's got two different color eyes.
Yeah.
No.
Well, he's guy. He's anti-authoritarian, but he basically tells him that like to have a vision for that much radical change is crazy, and Grendel's like, you call it crazy, but you still went along with it.
Right.
This is his. He's finding an acolyte.
Exactly. And what's more, and this is what it made me think, are you ready to turn the page?
Yeah.
I found this kind of parallel.
Oh, wait, no, I'm not.
Oh, okay. Go ahead.
This is where Naz explains no one wants to end up in the circle, and so it's a last resort, though it is a resort.
Right. And you have to really believe in your side of the case to like want to take it this far, because like, you know, if you're not ready, and I wonder if people take advantage of this, like if a stronger person, you know, brings this to a weak person and he says, this is my land, and he's like, no, it's not, it's my land, and he's like, well, do you want to go to the ordeal about it? And he's like, no,
Right.
no.
Yeah, and that's like that's the might makes right loophole. It's like in professional wrestling, the entire conceit is that all argument is resolved through combat. Doesn't matter what it's about.
Right. All right. So now we turn, and the parallel that I'm seeing is, I don't know if you remember the minstrel from Gru, but you know, he would kind of follow along around Gru, and he would sing these songs, or brave Sir Robin.
Yeah, his bard.
He bravely ran away. No, I didn't. You know, like, I guess it's like the classic minstrel story. And as we see, you know, what we see is time passing, a week, 2 weeks. Oh, again, The Witcher.
Sunrises.
Also,
Look
The
at
Witcher
that.
too.
Oh, I don't know The Witcher, but
it is a show with Superman from Netflix, I guess, based on a video game. But,
that's based on Elric, from what I've heard.
Oh, really? See, yeah.
It's
so
totally,
then,
it's totally. But look at this inset panel in the upper left, like that.
Beautiful.
That incredibly innovative passage of time. The camera doesn't move, but you know, either the sun, I guess the sun rises or sets or whatever. Really, really cool.
Mm-hmm. And we get a nice panel of the Haronk taking a dump.
Oh, you can see it's pooper.
Yeah. Love that detail, Matt. Hey, this is just real life, you know. This is the life and times of Prime.
Yeah, it's a very underground book, you know, warts and all.
And so we're seeing Prime continue to become the surrogate for different ordeals. Not even mace balls can affect him. The song continues, you know, the hymn of the Heartland, the hymn of the Wanderer.
Naz's song that he's written about.
Exactly.
Yes. Okay, that's very clear.
Who
okay, cool.
fears neither blade or this bludgeon or ball. I'm hearing it as Bowie in my head.
Yeah, this sequence reminded me of it's like the opposite of the montage in Conan, where he like does where he rises as a gladiator. Right. This is him just like showing up. You had said earlier that like this one with the 3 morning stars, it does look like he's in more of a pit. Like there's a wrestling ring,
right? Exactly.
Where they get this done.
Like in each village shows their personality, shows maybe this village has a lot of wood and a forest, and so theirs can have more wood and be bigger walls. But the previous one was more based, as we saw, on like herding and cattle, and so their ring was more of like a cattle fence. So
yeah.
Perhaps they show there.
This is the hymn of the wanderer. So it's not only a bardic tale, but it has religious undertones about the social change that it's going to take.
Interesting.
In each of these pages, Naz, I think his like religious attire gets more and more. Like, so he's by the second page, he's in these robes. Is that true, or did I just make that up?
I kind of thought that was like the ruler of this region or something.
No, that's Naz.
Oh, that's
taking on his like acolyte bard role. Okay. And so first he's wearing the blue cape where the morning stars are breaking against him. And then he's hands together full on robes, and he always appears breaking out of these circular insets.
Right.
Really cool.
Yeah.
It might be easier to read if there was like the lettering has kind of like a wave scroll effect.
Mm-hmm.
But maybe it's like very a lyrical font. Maybe if he had like an instrument, or if there were some musical notes, it might be enhanced.
And so this next region too is much more green and lush and stuff, and then you can again see it's more like trunks, and they have a bigger fencing around their circle, and it seems like there's even more and more people drinking, and so maybe the legend of the wanderer, he's the wanderer, the prime wanderer. Anyway, so it's it's traveling around, And so now more and more people are coming out to see the Wanderer, the white warrior, as we see on the next
and
page.
where first they call him a heretic and a crazy, by the end of it, they are raising a hand to his infinite grace.
Right.
So there's, and that's what they're doing in the splash. So there's this like, this Christ-like presence as he sort of shows them a new way and converts them to.
Right. And he's at this like crossroads of life, perhaps, or to show that, after all this travel, now he's at a crossroads as to where to go next.
This is a really enormous development for this character, who is kind of a blank slate. After my recollection is that after War Child, he's asleep for I don't know 20 years or whatever until Greg Rucka brings him back, and he and Susan have an adventure together in Past Prime. And he's just like a stoic killing machine dedicated to the ideals of Orion. And in this ascetic space isolation, he's found a new solution. What an incredible development for this character.
Yes, agreed. Now, I stopped the share here, but I do want to go back in for just a second. We have this amazing.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. There's like someone did like a 3D rendering of the ship and of Siggy. We see Matt and Brennan with their masks on. Those are sweet masks. And then we see this Luchador Grendel by Jay Gonzo. Now, Jay Gonzo has a new Luchador based book out. It just came out. I saw an email from Collector's Paradise. I can't remember what it's called, but it's like L something, and I'll show it on screen right now. But I mean, that's just such a beautiful, like the rose in the background, and it's got the lines very much like super cool.
Yeah, I like his tuxedo front.
Oh yeah, I didn't see that.
Very funny.
Oh, that's great.
Very cool.
Yeah, and we got a black back in the comic, but maybe. Oh, interesting. The variant has a black back, but the regular has a tan back or sand back. Oh, I see, because it just references the color that's on the front to make it like a whole. So it's the cover has that, the Earth, that planet's color scheme, and so it's the back. Makes sense. All right, amazing, man.
Let's see what the teaser is for next month. Grendel Prime's crusade as the White Warrior becomes legendary to the citizens on the planet Bojan Fek. But his campaign of nonviolent resistance to overturn and eradicate the practice known as the Ordeal eventually brings him to conflict with the leader of that world's largest caste, a ruthless despot known as Gamma Gorach. Ooh. Mm-hmm. Really, really cool. And then Rob, Guillory from Chew does the
variant.
Does the variant. Yeah, wow. This sounds really cool. So next issue is the second to last in this one. So I'm looking forward. It feels like things are shaping up and going somewhere really cool.
Brennan said this is like a 2-issue arc or something like that too. So
yeah, they'll resolve their shit. They'll probably realize this planet ain't the one, and then the 8th issue will set us up for the next series.
Which Matt has not let any secrets out about, other than we wouldn't expect it.
Well, we're already in territory that we wouldn't expect. So
yeah, we really are. This this war golem character is now like this is now a peaceful monk.
Yeah. So if I recall, is there a planet on the first issue, or is it just the setup of the con saying we got to get you out of here, and then they blast off, and it's like, what will we find over the next 7 issues? So that's the first one. Yeah. And then there's a few.
There's like a mushroom planet. Episodic. There's like the little guys planet. There's the winter planet.
And then there's they do that again, but then there's 2 issues. There's the Susan cameo, Jupiter cameo.
Yeah.
And now we've got the 2-part white warrior, and the wrap up. So a very tightly structured roller coaster ride for
So
the
great.
the
And
picker
the
guest
hardcover
paladin.
collection is already available on Amazon if you're interested.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah, I'll probably get it. Another great week of Grenolin, Ben. Anything else you want to say?
My Barry Windsor Smith Monsters book finally came.
Yes.
I pre-ordered it. It arrived 2.5 weeks after the release date, and it was dinged up. So thanks a lot, USPS, Louis DeJoy, Fantagraphics.
I'm still waiting on mine. That is the
so fucking pissed. I can't wait to look at it though.
I've heard amazing things. I've heard it's like you have to take it in like chapters. You couldn't take it all down at once.
We'll see.
We'll
be back. We'll be back next week for issue 7 or 8 of Christine Spar.
That's right.
That'll
I'm
be
super
our
excited to get back.
episode.
Yeah, man.
1 year.
Vivat Grendel, Ben. Keep on Grenolin. Until next time.
Good day.